A forecast of the future. We are indeed in serious times, yet what's coming makes what is look like a Sunday picnic. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. Daniel 12 verse 1. But as the days of Noe were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noe entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came, and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Matthew 24 verses 37 to 39. Many Christians today tell us that we can avert the tragedy predicted ahead. They tell us that all the religions of the world need to unite in an effort to rid the earth of evil so that a millennium of peace can be ushered in. They are therefore urging church members into political action, actually telling them that such action is necessary in order to avert the threatened calamities. One man asked a panelist on a religious televised program one day, "Why are the TV evangelists and mainline Christian churches so political? Why are they always trying to enact religious laws and control people and politicians?" The panelist replied that it is necessary for the churches to acquire as much power as they can so that they can fight against the predicted beast person who is supposed to appear and start the Great Tribulation. Yet the Great Tribulation involves persecution, and there is one very essential ingredient which is always present in persecution. That ingredient is government. We must therefore watch the forces which are zeroing in towards controlling the government. But which forces are? There is one important fact those who encourage these movements are missing. The Bible doesn't say that these tragic events might come and that they may be averted if we behave right. It says they definitely will come. Looking into the future, it therefore predicts that, as a matter of choice, the tragic events of prophecy will not be averted. It is true the events are dependent on our course and choice of this generation regarding whether or not they will turn from evil. But prophecy states that this generation will willingly choose to reject Christ. The inhabitants of the earth will resist the truth of God and will turn to fables. Here is where Antichrist comes into play. Those pressing the movements for peace will be deceived into carrying out the plans of Antichrist. Of the end of the world, the Bible says, "The slain of the Lord shall be at that day, the day of his appearing, from one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. They shall not be lamented, neither gathered nor buried, they shall be dung upon the ground." Jeremiah 25 verse 33. Notice that in the days of Noah, it was God who destroyed the world by water. So it will be God again who will be forced to destroy the world when he comes the second time. Notice how some have said that there will be 1,000 years of peace upon the earth when Jesus comes and rules the nations. Can you imagine how it would be to have flourishing cities around with billions of slain bodies rotting all over the earth? How can cities flourish with dead bodies being everywhere, with no one to clean them up? Oh, you might say, "Oh, the people during that time will clean it up." Really? Jeremiah 25 verse 33 says, "They shall not be lamented, neither gathered nor buried. They shall be dung upon the ground." Dung, by the way, is feces, or manure. Even if you try to push dead bodies away with a bulldozer in order to build a city, just that act will cause bodies to gather in front of its shovel. "The Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain." Isaiah 26 verse 21. Do not mistake the fact that it is prophesied that the whole earth will enter a cataclysmic and tragic dead-end destruction. The prophecies you just read here never took place yet in the history of the earth. The Lord never actually came out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth. The destruction described is still pending. Not a destruction by nuclear weapons nor aliens from space, but by its very Creator, himself. "Behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. The land shall be utterly emptied, and utterly spoiled. For the Lord hath spoken this word." Isaiah 24 verses 1 and 3. The earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall, and not rise again. Isaiah 24 verses 19 and 20. I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form and void, and the heavens, and they had no light. I beheld the mountains, and lo, they trembled, and all the hills moved lightly. I beheld, and lo, there was no man, and all the birds of the heavens were fled. I beheld, and lo, the fruitful place was a wilderness, and all the cities thereof were broken down at the presence of the Lord, and by his fierce anger. Jeremiah 4 verses 23 to 26. After hearing these testimonies, one would wonder what in the world would cause God to be so angry. What did the inhabitants of the earth do that was dreadful enough to cause the Lord to wipe them clean off the globe? The answer to this mystery, the answer to what we may even be doing now, which is stirring up the anger of the Lord, can be found in the last book of the Bible depicting our day, the 13th chapter of the book of Revelation. The problem is, starting with verse 3, and all the world wondered after the beast, and they worshipped the dragon, and they worshipped the beast. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, the beast, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. Revelation 13 verses 3 and 8. Who will worship the beast? All the world. Revelation 13 verse 3. You must dwell on what this is saying here, for it is frightening. This word is true. Everything you have heard and every impression you have had to the contrary are false. Will there be efforts nonetheless to warn the people and avert the terrible destruction? Will Christians be included in that number since they are seeking to take over the world now? And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world, for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Matthew 24 verse 14. A noise shall come even to the ends of the earth, for the Lord hath a controversy with the nations. He will plead with all flesh. He will give them that are wicked to the sword, saith the Lord. Jeremiah 25 verse 31. With the great majority, these efforts will be unsuccessful. Matthew 24 verse 37 says, But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. What? The movements of Christendom to avert the destruction and bring in a millennium of peace will fail? If it does fail, what could cause such a failure? And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. Revelation 13, verses 13 and 14. Terrible deception will be a key factor in thwarting the good intentions of the great masses of Christians today to avert the destruction of the world. Yet they need not be deceived, since abundant warnings will be given of the deception. They will not heed those warnings. Why should you know who the beast of Revelation is and how to avoid worshiping him? Isn't having a relationship with Jesus all that is important? If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment descendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Revelation 14 verses 9 to 11. This is the message for our time. How few preach it. This is a special message given to God's people to tell all the world just before he comes. There are nets planted everywhere to catch you in deception, people. Will you escape when you keep thinking there is no such a thing as truth, or that it can't be found? You have a very short time to find out.